Hello, Planet Earth. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We're at IDK, my BFF Jill 730.
My BFF Jill 730.
I'm Preston L. Young, wishing you warm salutations and congratulations as always. You've made your way to the Buffyngton Post.
You are invited!
Today I'll be taking a break from the Buffyverse to talk about Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi.
Is it difficult or time-consuming?
And full disclosure, I'm not a big Star Wars fan. Like, I like Star Wars, I've always liked Star Wars, it's fine, I'm not like slitting my wrists over it or anything like that, but I had some real problems with The Last Jedi, and I wanted to talk about it, even though it's been like nearly a month since the movie came out, and I've just been sitting on it since opening night, but here we are, we're going to talk about it. So, full spoilers ahead. Stay tuned through the intro sequence. I'm gonna just talk about Star Wars, like me and Star Wars, what I liked about this movie, what I didn't like about this movie, and then at the end I'm just gonna talk about some stuff in the Star Wars universe that just doesn't make a shit ton of sense to me.
Grumble, grumble.
Here we go.
You ready?
I'm not perfect and I'm no snitch, but I can tell you she's a bitch. Ba-da-da-da-da-ba, ba-da-ba, ba-da-da-da-da-ba, ba-da-ba.
So right off the top, I see a lot of people out there like, oh, Star Wars is SJW, Star Wars hates men. I don't think Star Wars hates men. I don't think that's even a thing. My note here is Star Wars hates men, ? Like, I don't get it. Just because you want to include women and show that women can be awesome, I don't think that that means that Star Wars hates men. And then there's the whole Star Wars hates white men, which is a whole fucking other thing that I don't care to talk about because what the fuck? Who... Like, get your feelings out of your ass. Like, white guys aren't always the savior, whatever. And, you know, like, The Force Awakens, I realize, like, it's pretty much A New Hope with a new skin on it. Like, I totally get that, but at the same time, it felt like Star Wars. Sure, you just, like, copy and paste A New Hope, and then you put, you know, cute new folk in there, and it's kind of the same movie, but at the same time, like, it still felt like Star Wars, which is my real problem with The Last Jedi. Now, I mean, you can blame Disney for all of this, and, you know, feel free, because I'm not loving the Disney-ness of all of this. But as far as Rogue One goes, like, I didn't even bother to see it. My friend Jason, he tweeted at me, it was like, I guess, this time last year or some shit like this, I don't know. And he was like, oh, should I see this movie or Rogue One? And I was like, well, I didn't see Rogue One, but spoiler alert, do you think that they're not gonna get the Death Star plans to Princess Leia? You know what I mean? Like, it just, like, who the fuck cares? Like, and so Rogue One, I didn't see it. I'm not that invested in Star Wars. However, like I said, Star Wars, like, I'm a fan. I'm about it. So let's talk about The Last Jedi.
Shall we begin?
I'm a big fan of the meta-narrative. I like meta, you know. Buffy, it stayed meta. Season 8, Season 9, Season 10. Season 11 kind of got away from the meta, and it just mostly wanted to talk about current events and all that good stuff. It's a little hit or miss, but I do enjoy meta storytelling. I think meta is a lot of fun. I just don't think that Star Wars is the right place to have your meta-narrative. Like, somebody asked me about this movie, and I said, this is the movie. I'm explaining to you the plot of the movie. It's so meta that this is how the movie goes. You've got Luke Skywalker, and he's like, meh. Fuck it all. Like, Disney owns everything. The light side, the dark side, the Jedi, the Sith. Who cares? Screw it all, because Disney owns everything. So why should anybody care? Let's just screw it all and peace out, Host Scout. I want nothing to do with any of it. And then you've got Rey, and she's kind of like the new Star Wars fan. Like, if Luke is kind of the old Star Wars fan who's like completely anti-Disney, then Rey, she's the new Star Wars fan, and she's like, no, you know, maybe we can still have some old stuff and make it work with Disney. Maybe we can all work together. Maybe everything's not like doom and gloom, Luke / old school Star Wars fans. Maybe there's room for everybody here and we can all play. And that's like Luke and that's Rey. And then you've got Kylo Ren and he's like, get in, loser. We're going to fucking Disney World. So fucking here we go. And that's the movie. It's like the First Order, The First Order? Yeah. The First Order is Disney, and Kylo Ren is like Mickey fucking Mouse, and he's like, we're going Disney hard. It's all Disney all the way, man. You coming with me or what? Because Disney train is going, and if you're not on it, nobody's gonna fucking care. So, like, that whole meta-narrative is annoying as shit because I don't think that Star Wars is the right place to play meta. I really don't. And there's just something about this movie that seems mean-spirited. It seems mean. The movie and the characters and what Johnson has done with the Star Wars story, it just seems like a lot of people are saying, oh, it subverts expectations. It doesn't give you what you want. But I really think that this movie comes across as mean toward people who, like me, know what they want out of Star Wars. And, you know, don't give the audience what they want. I'm a total believer in that. Don't give the audience what they want. Give them what they don't realize they want. I'm all about that. But I don't think anybody wanted this. I don't think anybody wanted for the director to point at you and say, fuck you, I don't care about your feelings, I don't care about any of this, I'm just here to come in and basically be mean to Star Wars fans. It comes across as super mean-spirited and almost hateful. And I don't understand why this movie exists in the way that it does. It's so weird. And the meta-narrative on top of that just... it doesn't work in Star Wars, if you ask me. Now, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you know, I started this channel and I realized, like, over time I got away from what I started doing, and, like, my videos were supposed to be therapy. And so this is my way of, like, getting out the crazy in my head. So I don't give a fuck what you think, this is just for me.
No interruptions.
Now, let's talk about Backdoor Pilots. Like, I'm a big TV fan, and I know a Backdoor Pilot when I see one. Like, it's usually, like, fun to do. However, most people are upset about the Finn and Rose storyline because it doesn't go anywhere. Like, wow, it doesn't go anywhere. But my thing is, it just comes across as a backdoor pilot to, like, a Saturday morning, not even cartoon show. Like, you could do a live-action Saturday morning show like this, like, for Disney Channel. Not Disney. And yeah, I would totally watch this TV show about Finn and Rose and all the other little, like, minor randos within the Star Wars universe going around and, you know, fighting the good fight and rescuing folk and setting animals free and all that good stuff. But at the same time, that's what it feels like. It feels like a backdoor pilot to a show about these smaller Star Wars characters. And that could be a thing. I just don't feel like it fits in here. There are parts that work out of this narrative, and there are parts that don't work. The parts that don't work are, like, them talking about, like, war profiteering and how, you know, there are people out here making money off of the, not the Empire, the First Order, and the Rebellion, although I guess the Rebellion is supposed to be the Republic. It's so confusing, like, what happened to the Republic and the Rebellion and blah, 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 blah. But anyway, it's like, oh, there are people selling weapons to this side and to that side, and that's not cool, but they don't go anywhere with it. They don't actually go anywhere with it. And you could say that, sure, they go with it with DJ. He's the one that said, oh, well, you know, people are just making money, and look, he's the one making money off of both sides, like, what the heck ever. But really, they don't explore it enough for it to hold any weight in the movie. It's just kind of there so that they can say, don't go profiting off war, planet Earth. And that would be great if you went somewhere with it, if you gave us a face to deal with, if you kind of had this looming threat of how people were literally invested in this war and didn't want to see it end. That would be something, but we don't get any of that, and so it just... I don't know. It's, like, I didn't hate the Finn and Rose stuff, it just felt like, again, like a backdoor pilot, and you know, the whole, like, freeing the Greyhound / horse racers is fine and all, but what's stopping them from just getting captured again? Well, nothing, because you guys are going to be peacing out in 2.5, so like, and people complain like, oh, well, they don't actually accomplish anything, and I feel like that's the point. Like, I get it. I mean, obviously, that's the point. Like, they don't accomplish their actual mission, but they bring a new hope to these people. Like, oh my gosh, it's all about hope, and that's fine for your Saturday morning cartoon. It doesn't fit here, and while there's nothing really wrong with it, it just, again, it doesn't really feel like it matters. Like, here's my theory. I felt like, even though they said that Carrie Fisher had shot all of her scenes for episode 8 or what the heck ever, I think they were lying. I think what happened was, after Carrie Fisher died, they hadn't figured out all their shit. They didn't have all of her stuff in the bag, and so they had to elongate this Finn and Rose plot, because you can tell it just goes on for entirely too long, and it just doesn't feel like it was their initial idea. Although, with all the fucking meta storytelling going on in here, God knows what the initial idea actually was, you know what I mean? But yeah, to me it just came across as a last-ditch effort to cover up what they were lacking, and, like, it just... I mean, this movie, I didn't enjoy it at all. Like, straight up, let's get that out of the way. I did not enjoy this movie at all. Because even though there were enjoyable moments, there were enjoyable instances, overall, again, it felt mean, the meta-narrative was annoying, and the humor we'll get to, but I just don't like it. And Finn and Rose, I don't know them, and I don't care about them, and I don't know why I should. Except for, oh, her sister died, y'all. Her sister totally died. She killed herself all to death to save some folk. But not really to save anybody, just to kill some other folk, which in turn might save some people, but it's a whole fucking mess.
Exactly.
So let's talk about Poe and Holdo, and how they both come across as assholes. Like, you've got Poe, even when people are in charge and telling him, do this, don't do that, he just comes across as a super asshole because he refuses to do anything that anybody tells him to do. And then you've got Admiral Holdo, who also comes across as an asshole because by the time we figure out what her plan was, it's like, why didn't you tell this dude who thought that you were going about things all the wrong way in the first place? And it's not like they hadn't even evacuated people yet. Like, people were already on their way out when he finds out the plan. So who is this helping? Who is this helping? Like, I like Laura Dern, I like Oscar Isaacs, good actors, like, good for you, you made it into Star Wars, congrats. But it just, the logic isn't there. It's just not there. And they both come across as a couple of assholes who just want to do things their way, and then we're supposed to feel like, oh, Holdo, you did this super awesome thing. And let me tell you, it was super awesome. It was really cool, the way that she, like, light sped into the fucking Snoke ship or what the fuck ever. It was cool. But, like, that's the only thing that makes her kind of redeemable, because, again, she comes across as a complete asshole for not sharing her plan, and Poe doesn't come across any better because he just seems like a complete asshole for not respecting anybody's plan, even though he may or may not have known about it. It's so fucking dumb.
Get out, get out, get out!
Alright, so what the fuck moments. There were 2 moments in the movie where I audibly said, what the fuck? So the first one was a good what the fuck moment, like when we find out the truth about what happened between Luke and Ben. Quick sidebar. Why is Rey going around calling this motherfucker Ben? She's like, Ben! 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 Why are you calling him Ben? You don't know him from Buddha. You met him that one time right after he killed your new friend and tried to kill you. Like, don't call him Ben. Call him by his chosen name. Call him by Kylo Ren. That's what he's, like, appeared to you as so far, so fuck him. Stop calling him Ben. It doesn't make any of this sense. But anyway, so the what the fuck moment when we find out what had actually gone down between Luke and Kylo. Like, when we see that he was just gonna kill him, I literally said, what the fuck? In the middle of the theater. Like, you know, it was awesome. Because it was whack. And, like, I don't care. But it was genuinely surprising, so yay on that. And then the other what the fuck moment, I was like, what the fuck? Leia and her magical force powers, like, is she... I mean, it's already been said, everybody said everything about it, but here they had this moment to kill Carrie Fisher, and it'd be like, That's how they did it. That's how they got rid of Carrie Fisher. And no magical force powers. And then they don't even kill her in the movie, which is another, like, once you finish the movie, you're like, what the fuck? But yeah, that Leia moment kind of took away from the whole Luke and Kylo moment where we find out he was just gonna kill him and then decided not to. And I have a problem with that shit too. Like, oh, in a split second, I decided I wasn't gonna kill him. So you had to turn your lightsaber on to figure out you weren't gonna kill your nephew? Like, really? That's how you, like, figure out where your feelings lie? Like, search your fucking feelings, Luke. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It was just... this movie. It was... again, it was like... everybody expected for them to kill Leia because we know that Carrie Fisher's dead, and the movie wants to subvert your expectations by not killing her. But they don't do anything with her. They don't actually do anything with Leia worthwhile. I mean, sure, we get to see her say goodbye to Luke, but, like, are we gonna get digital Carrie Fisher or not? Because I'm totally against resurrecting dead people just so you can make fucking money off of them. That's what, like, slavery is all about. And I'm not about slavery, so, you know, let's all go to Canto Bight and free the slaves! Even though they don't actually free anybody. They free some animals for a little while. It's a whole fucking mess. See? See how nothing makes sense?
What are you doing?
So, let's get to the, like, what the movie is. This is Star Wars Episode 8. The Last Jedi. I'm going to give you, like, a reenactment of the movie. And it's full. Are you ready? It's war. It's war. It's war. And it doesn't fucking work, man. Star Wars takes itself pretty seriously. You have moments of levity. You have character interactions. They break the tension, whatever. That's Star Wars. I mean, that's fiction, you know? Not everything can be super serious all the time, and Star Wars takes itself pretty seriously, but, you know, they give you R2-D2 and C-3PO to, like, everything's fun, but it's still pretty serious, you know what I mean? And in this movie, every time it starts to take itself super seriously, it takes all of the tension away. It says, we're not that serious, guys. It's really not that serious. It's a war, but here's a joke. And it's terrible. It's terrible. There was this one motherfucker, and he would not stop laughing at all their stupid little kitschy jokes, and I wanted to get up and find him and rip his throat out because that's not Star Wars. It doesn't ever feel like Star Wars because of these bullshit things. Like the whole reach out, and then she's like, it's so fucking dumb. It doesn't belong in a Star Wars movie. And then, this is why the movie feels mean. And this is what I did not like about it from the fucking jump. When we have Rey, and she's with Luke, and she's like, here girl, here's your fucking lightsaber. I brought it all the way across the goddamn galaxy just for you. And he's like, ha! And the movie just never stops from there. It's, again, it feels mean. It feels just mean-spirited, because it's like, fuck you, fuck your expectations, and you know what? Fuck my expectations. That's fine. But don't treat the material like it's a big fucking joke, because that's not Star Wars. Like, again, it's war. It's not, it's war, ha 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 ha. It's war. And what I did like about this movie was the feeling of being in a war. When, like, even though it's all convoluted on why the First Order can't break through their shields and, like, they're running out of fuel, like, it feels like they are in a war and things are fucking bad. And people are having to make these crazy decisions, like Finn and, what's her name, Rose, going off, like, they're going off rogue, that's not part of the plan, but, like, shit like that happens in war. People feel like they have better ideas. I get all of that, like, and it does a good job of making this feel like we are in wartime, but you can't have it be a war and have nothing fucking matter. Because, basically, nothing matters in this movie. Like, really, nothing matters. Surprise.
So that's against the rules, and you can't sit with us.
So here's something I liked. I liked when Rey went down into the pit of the fucking dark side or what the heck ever, and she did the snap moment, and there were all of these Reys behind her, and there were all of these Reys in front of her, and the way that I took it was like, you know, it's all you. You don't have to wonder what's at the front, because you're at the front, just like, it goes back to like Yoda, like, there is no try, like, do or do not, there is no try, like, it's all you, baby, like, it's all you, there is no echo, it's all just you, and I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a nifty little visual trick to get Rey to where she kind of wants to be, which is herself, and to be full. And so I liked all the stuff with like Rey going like into the dark side vagina pit, like it was neat, it was nifty. And I did like the stuff between Rey and Ben when they're kind of like psychically linked, and we find out later that Snoke has like linked them up because of like the duality and the fucking Force and all this good stuff. Like whatever. I thought that those interactions were pretty fucking nifty, and I like the way that we find out what's going on with like the whole Luke and Kylo reveal. Like I was gonna kill my nephew and all that good stuff. Like that stuff worked for me, but on the whole, like, I don't know that Rey... There's surprisingly little Rey in the movie. I remember other things more than I remember her bits, and a lot of it has to do with the jokey nature of it, like the reach out thing. Like, that's not funny. It's not funny. The humor is too broad here, and there's too much of it. And like the lightsaber hitting her in the head because, ha ha ha, we can't have too much tension. There's nothing really redeeming about this movie is what I'm trying to like get to. Like, I like all the snap stuff, but it won't stay the course. It won't stay where it is going for any like length of time. It just hops around, hops around, hops around. Don't get too invested because we're gonna play a fucking joke soon. It's just kind of dumb. And then you got Snoke. Like Snoke, I was excited to see like what the what was, and I get it. Like, kill him, sure, kill him. But I would like to know at least a little bit. Where did he come from? How did he ascend to, like, being in charge of the First Order? How did he, like, seduce Ben over to the dark side? All that good stuff. Like, I don't need to know his history. I don't need to know who his parents are. I don't need to know all of that. But I would like to know just a little bit so that I can care when he dies. Like, I would like to care. Please help me care about this thing that you sold me, that I paid you money for. And, like, on the one hand, I wasn't terribly surprised that they killed Snoke, because, you know, that's the whole thing about the Sith, is like, there can only be two, until there's not, because the fucking apprentice kills the master, right? And so, it's like, okay, kill your master, become your own master, what the heck ever. I get that, but give me some reason to care about the relationship between Kylo and Snoke. Give me some reason to fear Snoke. Sure, he can, like, use the Force, what the heck ever, but he can't use the Force well enough to know that he's Kylo's enemy and not Rey. What the fuck? Anyway.
I tired of that one quickly.
So the Porgs. I didn't hate them. Like, I was expecting that they were just gonna be all up in the movie, like, we're Porgs, we're Porgs, we're Porgs. I didn't hate them. I thought they were fine. They're cute enough. They're like birds with mammal mouths, which is weird, but okay. And, I did get a genuine grin on my face when I saw that the Porgs were, like, you know, nesting up in the Millennium Falcon. That was cute. Like, that was genuinely cute. And so I don't hate the Porgs. I don't really care about the Porgs. They didn't add or subtract from the plot. They're just kind of there. And so I appreciated the fact that they didn't just smear them all over the place. I mean, they're Porgs. Whatever. They didn't offend me. A smile came to my face when Luke saw R2 and he was so excited. Like, that genuinely brought a smile to my face. Something about R2-D2, like, what I don't like about these movies is, like, you remember when R2-D2 was kind of the main character of the Star Wars universe? Like, I've always really liked R2-D2, and so when Luke saw R2 and he was like, oh girl, what do you, like, how's your life? I liked that. Like, that actually worked. And then when he played the Princess Leia thing, it was like, it was a little, like, we fucking got you. We know you, Miss Carrie Fisher. We know we're gonna make you get the feels. And I kind of got the feels, but at the same time, it was so emotionally manipulative. It kind of like took me out for a moment. But I get it. Like, I get it. We needed to have Luke feel guilty about having not felt guilty about just abandoning the whole like Force and everything else because he doesn't like Disney. You know, like it's fine overall. And then, like, Yoda, when Yoda came, like, it's hard for me not to grin about Yoda, because when I was a baby, like, all I had was, like, these ears, the actual size they are now, and a little bitty head, and my aunt called me Yoda baby, and so I've always been, like, fucking Yoda in my family, and so, like, I have a special relationship with Yoda, but also it's fucking Yoda, like, So I smirked when I saw Yoda, and, but at the same time, it just felt super fan servicey, but it was, again, like, who doesn't want to fucking see Yoda? I'll give it to you, movie.
Aren't you the teeniest bit interested?
And the thing about this movie that really I didn't like at all was Mark Hamill. I don't like Mark Hamill as an actor. I think there's a reason that he's only been doing voiceover work for years and years and years, and basically, Mark Hamill is coming in here and playing himself. If you've ever seen, like, interviews with Mark Hamill, then, you know, like, he's kind of a goofy, crazy person. And, hey, I can totally relate to that shit. But, he never felt like he was Luke. He felt like he was playing Mark Hamill. And I don't care for that. I don't think that Mark Hamill's a great actor. And he just comes across as super fucking goofy. And when he brushed his shoulders off, that's not Star Wars. Really? We're brushing our shoulders off in a fucking Star Wars movie? Like, no. It just seems super Mark Hamill, and Mark Hamill... I didn't even care about that, you know, drinking the milk and all that good stuff. But at the same time, it just seemed like super Mark Hamill-y, and it doesn't... I don't think he's a good Luke, at least at this point in his life. I mean, back in the day, he was still kind of super fucking goofy, especially as the movie was going like went on, and he was like, "Rah!" and he's always making that crazy face, like, "Rah!" Whatever. But I think Mark Hamill doesn't work here at all for me. The end.
Bye, Felicia.
In this movie, it reminded me so much of Pirates of the Caribbean. I remember when the first Pirates of the Caribbean came out, everybody was like, "Oh, it's so fucking good. Fucking pirates. Fucking give it to me. Yeah, Jack Sparrow and all that good stuff." And I finally saw the movie, and I was like, oh, it's not nearly as bad as I thought it would be. It's not bad at all. It's pretty good. And then the second Pirates movie came out, and everybody was like, oh, fucking, Black Pearl and shit. Fucking pirates. And it went nowhere. That whole movie went nowhere. Nothing gets accomplished by the time you get to the end of that movie. You could have skipped the entirety of the second movie, and nothing would have changed. Like, the plot doesn't change. They go and try and get the thing in the box, and then they don't get the thing in the box, and that was the whole plot, and nothing happens. And so that's what I feel about this movie. Nothing happens. Luke dies. Nothing happens. Like, he wasn't even around in the first one, or the seventh one. And now he's like barely here, and then when he is here at the end, surprise, he's not here. I thought it was pretty nifty that the Jedi could astral project, but I mean, give us the astral projection or give us the we can float around in space in a breathable atmosphere that we create for ourselves with the Force. Like, one or the other. Like, pick one. Don't just go throwing new Force stuff at us, because we also have this we can all talk to each other through our fucking brains Force powers that also are brand new. Whatever. And like, you could say that like back in Empire when Luke is all hanging out with his one arm and he calls out to Leia, like, they kind of did this before, which is why I can kind of forgive the whole we talk to each other in our brain situation. But at the same time, it's like, just slow down. And I guess it was cool enough, except for the whole I'm brushing my shoulders off thing. That was fucking dumb. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. So, like, this movie really suffers from Disneyfication, like the whole Pirates of the Caribbean thing. The first one made a lot of money, and so they just rushed into filming the other two back to back, and they didn't realize that when you don't do anything, your movie fucking sucks. And even though everybody was still like, it's terrible.
The dance of capitalist superiority. Here, have some money.
So I also want to get to this idea that Luke, at the end, after he fights Kylo Ren, before he, like, surprised he's not actually there. He says that I won't be the last Jedi. Okay, so the Force, like, it's just the Force. It's like frickin' God. Like, whoa, it's the Force. And there's the dark side and the light side and the Force. It's in everything, it's between everything. It's like the ties that bind and, like, repel. It's all of it. It's reality. Like, the Force is just reality happening all around you. Okay, I get that. So, the Jedi, like, not everybody who uses the Force is a Jedi, okay? And not everybody who uses the Force is, like, a Sith or a Jedi. Like, the Force is just out there. It's out there. And so, Luke, he says, I won't be the last Jedi. Well, okay. So he doesn't know that Rey actually took those, like, 4 or 5 Jedi books. So, even though Rey can use and wield the Force, that's not what being a Jedi is. Being a Jedi is like this whole, like, philosophical and educational bullshit where you have to go and learn, like, the ways of the Jedi and how the Jedi philosophically and ethically do things and, like, how they approach the Force. Like, all of that good stuff is what it is to be a Jedi. And then you've got the Sith who approach the Force in this different way, blah, 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 blah. And then, you know, you got the Grey Jedi, who we don't actually mention in this movie, which is stupid. But, like, the idea being that, like, you can take and choose, like, parts of the Force and do your own thing. And so if Luke believes that she actually took, or that he actually destroyed the books, or Yoda, rather, actually destroyed the books, then why would he think that Rey could be a Jedi? Because the Jedi is something that you teach people to be a part of, just like the Sith, like, you teach people to be a part of that. And so she could be, like, a very powerful Force user and not be a Jedi, but he says, I won't be the last Jedi, and then we cut to Rey in, like, kind of, you know, leading us to believe that she will in fact be this Jedi, and then we find out, like, sure enough, she took the books, and so even if she took the books, how would she be able to, like, become a Jedi without a Jedi Master teaching her what these books are actually trying to tell her? Because there's one thing, like, reading, like, I can read all day long, but having to actually apply that practically is this whole other thing, and so it doesn't make sense. Like, technically, Luke would have been the last Jedi, because Rey can read these books all day long, but she's not going to actually have somebody teaching her how to use the Force and stuff like that. It doesn't make a shit ton of sense. And then, you know, there's Captain Phasma, and Gwendolyn Christie was going all over the place like, I love Captain Phasma, I think she's an amazing character, I think she's just an amazing character, and I love being able to show little girls that they can be just like Captain Phasma. Okay, so we want little girls to be like some woman who shows up for no fucking reason, gets her ass kicked even though she's supposed to be super qualified, and then fucking nothing. I don't like the way that the first movie handled Gwendolyn Christie's character, Captain Phasma. I really don't like the way that they handled it in the second one when they said that there was going to be more of her and she'd be like kind of fucking redeemed or what the heck ever. Doesn't make a shit ton of sense. Again, that seems to be the theme of this movie. So, like, for Gwendolyn Christie to go around and be like, oh, there's Captain Phasma, she's amazing and I love her, and she's such a rich character. I've heard she's a fucking rich character in the comic books, but I haven't read those because movies don't require homework, or at least that's what I thought. So the punchline is, I didn't like The Last Jedi. I felt like it was a slap in the face. It not only says, here, we're going to give you what you didn't expect, but we're also going to kind of give you the fucking middle finger because you shouldn't have been expecting anything out of this. And I just think it's mean-spirited, and it's just a bunch of fluff with a bunch of jokes that aren't funny. I did not laugh at all in this movie, because it's not funny. And what they think is funny doesn't fit with the, hey, it's war. Again, this movie is, it's war. And I don't like it. It's fucking stupid.
Wake up.
So anyway, here are some things that just don't make sense to me in general about the Star Wars universe. How does time work? Okay, so we know that they can move around at light speed, but let's say that just because they're all in a galaxy far, far away. Okay, let's start there. So the opening crawl, it always says, like, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And don't get me wrong, I realize it's fiction. Like, I'm not crazy. But it implies that a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away is in our same universe. And so, like, the laws of physics should apply throughout the universe, even if it's in a galaxy far, far away. Okay, so even though they're in a galaxy far, far away, that galaxy seems to involve like several to like myriad solar systems, okay? And so if time is based on like the solar system that you're in, because time is basically like this measure of the way that gravity works within your specific like space, okay? And so like how does time work? Because I get that they can move at light speed, but how many years are passing between here in this solar system and this solar system? How do you even get everybody into the Galactic Republic at the same time? Like how the heck does time work? And for that matter, because of like the gravitational force, like and time being all different based on like where your sun is and your solar system and all that good stuff, and like how do people age? How do people age in the Star Wars universe? Like I feel like they shouldn't ever even mention age, because time is weird. And then it's like there are all of these planets within, you know, the galaxy of Star Wars, and yet every single fucking one of them seems to have a breathable atmosphere, not only for humans, but for all of the creatures and beings in the Star Wars universe. And it's like, okay, again, I realize it's fiction, but it's supposed to take place like in a universe if it's just a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And so how is it that within this one galaxy, all of the planets have all the same gravity? They all have the same force of gravity, okay? Nobody's ever like bouncing around or some shit like this, and nobody's ever like glued to the planet because of the big gravity situation. And then, so like, gravity's all the same, everybody can breathe in the atmosphere on every fucking planet, but for some reason they can't breathe underwater, which is dumb. Like, if you can just hop from planet to planet and breathe in the atmosphere, why? Like, why? How does any of that work? And somehow we're supposed to believe that you can't breathe in space? Like, how do the Star Wars physics work? Because on the one hand, it most of the time looks like physics as usual, except for like the Force, which is just like God magic powers, which I can give you that, it's fantasy. But like, how does time work? How does gravity work? How does reality work in the Star Wars universe? It's super weird. And then, like, where do humans come from? Like, do all the humans within the Star Wars galaxy come from a specific planet? Or do humans, like, naturally evolve out of different planets within the galaxy? Like, I don't understand. And I'm sure, like, if I went into, like, read the Star Wars books and all that good stuff, they might tell me, but, like, most of those don't even count as canon anymore. And secondly, again, like, movies shouldn't require homework. So, how like, do all the humans come from one planet? Like, what's the situation? They imply that, like, Chewbacca, like, he and his people, like, the Wookiees, they all come from, like, a Wookiee fucking planet. So, if that's the case, then where's the human planet? Because humans seem to be all over the galaxy, and yet there's a planet specifically for Wookiees, and there's, like, a planet specifically for Yoda and his people, because I think the planet that Yoda comes from is, like, called Yoda or some shit like that. But, you know what I mean? Like, where do humans come from? How does gravity work? How does time work? Who are you people? I don't understand a lot of these things about the Star Wars universe, and I get it. Like, again, it's fiction, it's fantasy, what the fuck ever. But it just leaves me scratching my chin hairs. Kinda dumb. But anyway, Planet Earth, let me know what you thought of Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, in the comment section down below. I'm Preston L. Young, and I hope you're having a great 2018 so far, everybody. You can come right back here to the Buffyngton Post for Buffy the Vampire Slayer reviews, Angel and Faith reviews, Buffyverse discussions on the other Slayers, and more. Stay tuned for those Westworld Season 2 reviews. They're coming. I might do the Magician Season 3 this year because, you know, I'm all about the Magician's life, even though it's kind of cheesy, but I love it. So, anyway, have yourself a great day today, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
It used to be so nice, it used to be so good. So when you're near me, darling, can't you hear me?
D.
My BFF.
Joe? 730.